Hey, it's the Bortone, and we're back with another one of our special guest interviews. And today we are talking with Tassey Russo, who I've known for many, many years. We work together, we play together in Italy, and we go back a ways. So thank you for joining us, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I've learned so much from working with you and hanging out with you.
Great. Well, tell folks a little bit about what it is that you do and a little bit of your background.
I am actually a personal narrative brand consultant and a marketing consultant. And what the heck does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
My focus in the last couple of years has really been on helping people establish a business or to re-energize or reset their business with a brand that speaks very particularly to their story and the reason that they do what they do and in the way that they do it. And so that's where the personal narrative comes in, because I take people back in time and I say, let's see where you've been. What are your experiences, how personal and professional, and how have those really affected what you've considered to do and what you've gone on to do and what you offer, when you work with people today or in any employment that you may have.
Right. That's awesome. I know, and I'm excited about the stuff that you're doing and looking forward to what's next. So I know, because we've worked together for a long time, that initially you were a bit resistant about doing video, and I recall some of your first forays into video, but tell us a little bit about that.
I think you're being polite to say I was a bit resistant. Let's see, I started with one of your first 30-day video challenges 3 years ago.
Wow.
I did about 4 or 5 days and I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came back a year later. And that one, I really said, okay, I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
For me, there was a huge hesitancy because, it's the whole concept of how do you look? How do you look on camera? How do you sound on camera? Am I gonna mess up?
Yeah.
What will people think if I'm not well rehearsed? For example, if I'm doing live video, or if I am rehearsed, do I have the right lighting? Do I have the right background? All these things were impediments to me, and I just said, you know what? This isn't for me. Yeah. But in the first 30-day challenge, where I really, I was committed. I did 21 days. Mm-hmm. So for me, that was a big commitment. Yeah. And what I learned in that one was it's fun. Mm-hmm. It's fun to just experiment. It's fun to see what turns out. It's fun to go back and watch yourself and to learn from yourself and to say, well, next time I can do that differently. Yeah. And gee, look how I use my hands, or that background really doesn't look good. I can improve on that. Mm-hmm. So that was something that I learned in that first challenge. And then the other thing that I learned, which I think is so important, when you're in a community of people who are interested in doing video and really make that leap, they're very supportive of you, and you learn from them.
Right.
And you see what they're doing. You see the techniques. You see the way that they introduce themselves or their content. And, you learn about tools that you would never think to use. Or I can remember one of the people in the challenge was using Camtasia.
Yep.
And she was doing things with Camtasia, which is a program I use, that I didn't know it could do. And so I became determined to learn that. And in the months thereafter, I really, on my own, started to learn more about video. And then I said, okay, I'm going to go and do Facebook Live. And that experience, and that was like 2 years ago?
Wow, yep.
That experience ultimately, I got a little confident. And so I actually contacted someone at a local conference, a technology conference, because I saw that they didn't have any speaker on video marketing. And they said, well, if you're willing to do it, then we'll give you a slot. And so I actually went in and I created a presentation, about 2 hours.
Wow.
I brought in my equipment. So it was almost like a workshop.
Yeah.
Taught people why and how video marketing can really boost their presence, especially, you know, their online presence and their online marketing, and how it can lead to sales. And from there, you know, it just kept going, because from there I created an online course. It was called Social Selling.
Yep.
And that became a master class. And it was on social selling, with a huge component of it being on video marketing.
Right.
And I took something from your book, and I said, at the end of the 4-week social selling class,
yeah,
I'm going to run a 10-day video challenge. You know, Lou, to this day, I still have people calling me or writing me and saying, you know, I loved doing those 10 days.
Wow.
I never knew that I could do video. And as a matter of fact, one of the women that was in that very first class, she is running for office here in the state of Maryland.
Yep.
And she called me up this summer and she said, I need your advice. I need to know how I can use video to actually help my campaign become more visible. Here's the catch, Tassey. I don't have a lot of money, and I don't have, you know, anyone that can be dedicated to this. So how can I go about bringing video into my campaign tool chest and make it effective, but make it without having a lot of, need for dollars? And so I was able to advise her on how to do that. So, you know, Lou, it's really just spiraled for me. And one of the things that I found out was that I can continue for every client, whether they're a small business or whether they're a solopreneur, I can say to them with complete confidence, I really think you need to consider video marketing to boost your online presence, really position yourself when you have a new offer, when you want to put it out in social media, when you want to, you know, put it in an email. And I can tell them, this is how you can do it. And let me walk you through it, because I know you may be worried about how you're going to look, how you're going to sound, whether you're going to make mistakes. And I can tell you, and I can do it from my own experience, that it can be overcome. Yeah. And usually I have clients who actually say, okay, I'll go ahead and try this. And then after a couple of those, they discovered what I did. It's actually fun.
Yeah, and again, it's, you know, I think a lot of people don't realize that with things like Facebook Live and things like being able to use the iPhone, you know, it's really low tech, and it's really usually pretty informal. And Facebook Live is kind of come as you are, called, you know, the big come as you are party. So there's not as much pressure of, oh my God, what does my background look like, and things like that. So that's a big help as well. And you've come a long, long way with your video stuff. So how are you finding it now? Like when you say, I know, because we work together, I know this, but tell everybody else, you know, all right, I've got this initiative, I've got to sell this, I've got this program. And then how do you kind of approach the video piece of that?
You know, the first time I really thought about using video more extensively to market for myself was about a year and a half ago, when I had rebranded my website and really put the focus of my business on the personal narrative branding, and then some of these, you know, interesting and good techniques for marketing, such as video. And I said, well, you know, I should use that when I actually want to let people know that I've rebranded, there's a new site, and I wanted to offer something for people who are actually going to the new site, And so the offer that I made to them was to work with me for a specific period of time, like 2 weeks. And what we'll do is a new about page for you.
Mm-hmm.
And to introduce them to the concept of personal narrative and why this can be used to rewrite or to write a really super about page that's different, that's really different.
Right.
We, and I'm going to say we because you helped me with it, we created a 5-part series.
Mm-hmm.
And that 5-part series chunked out everything from, why you would want to use video,
Mm-hmm.
how you can use video, how can you deliver video, and ultimately what the benefits are truly for you specifically if you're going to put it into your brand.
Right.
And into the story of your brand and telling it, telling your own personal story in your brand. And I did all of that through a series of 5 videos.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one way that I used it, and very effective. I made sure I looked at the analytics behind it, and I could tell how far into a video people were watching, how many people watched the whole video, how many people watched all 5 of the videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's probably important to say here that when you do something like that, you have to think of each video in and of itself.
Right.
But when it's a series, I made sure that it was limited in time.
Mm-hmm.
So those 5 videos were altogether were slightly over only 8 minutes in length.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think that's the other benefit of using video.
Mm-hmm.
When you have to say something and you get maybe 1 minute to 3 minutes only,
Yeah.
you have to really find what the core message is. You have to find what you really want people to know.
Right.
And then to tell them that in an engaging way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think video lets you do that.
Right.
And so I did that in that particular case.
Mm-hmm.
I created, using a program called Shaker, I created I think it was like a 40-second video.
Mm-hmm.
That I put on all my social media channels. I was not in it, but I grabbed pictures of my work, pictures of my office, and I put those together. It was an announcement to say, hey, guess what? I've rebranded.
Yeah.
I'm still here, but this is now what I'm doing. And so I put that everywhere. And I had really good comments from people
Mm-hmm.
on that. And then the other place is really, again, for any of the offers that I now do, I always think in terms of what's the video?
Right. Yeah.
What's the video?
Mm-hmm.
How can I introduce video into this particular launch or this funnel? Whether it's now in an email using something like Loom or whether it's on a social media channel, I think about those things now. I can say that I never thought about that 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I think people, on the user side, I know for me, like yesterday, right before I was supposed to do an interview with Peter Shankman, my mouse froze. So, like computers, and I went on my laptop and I looked for videos on how to fix it. It's like, I'm not going to search through text and all that stuff. I just want somebody to have a quick video and say, how do I get my mouse unfrozen? So I use it, almost like a search engine and find a quick solution as well.
For me, Lou, it's still fun.
Mm-hmm.
I know it takes a long time for some, for me in some cases to really create a video.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think about what I'm going to say. So often I'll get a video script and then it's videotaping it and then it's editing sometimes using, Camtasia or some other program. But at the end, what I realize is that I was really energized.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I think it comes through when you have that video.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, one of the other things I wanted to mention, it's a lot of people today are inundated with email. We all know that. And so the standard newsletter that you might put out once a week or twice a month,
Yeah.
very often I've noticed that people don't even open it for weeks afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But when you can do a Facebook Live and you can just get on and you can talk about a particular topic, and I've talked about emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about what it means to bring personality into selling. I've spoken about how to have a meeting outside, at a table, a picnic table in a park, because I've done that.
Yeah.
And when you can do that on Facebook Live, not only can there be that immediacy because people might be asking you questions and people see you in different environments and so they relate to it. But I take those videos and I put them up on my website.
Mm-hmm.
And so not only do I have a blog page, I also have a video blog page. So every time you do a video and you save it, it's just more content.
Right, makes sense to repurpose it, because otherwise it goes into the Facebook black hole and you never see it again. So tell folks what's next, what you're working on now. I mean, I know this obviously, but just for the benefit of the viewers, fill us in on that.
Well, I'm really excited about this, and it came from the process of rebranding and focusing in on personal narrative and story.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, video played a part in this too. Again, last summer, I became involved in more specific storytelling, and I took classes on it. I tried to do stories on video. And I realized how much I loved the aspect of bringing a story into a business message. We've talked about using stories for doing a launch of a product or a service. And to me, what I was seeing was that people struggle with that.
Yeah.
And so I decided that I was going to create another business endeavor over on the side. Excuse me. I'll restart that. Maybe we can cut this.
Yeah, that's okay, because Rocco is barking on cue. So.
Okay. What I discovered was that people really have a hard time bringing that story into their business, whether it's in a video, whether it's in an article. Mm-hmm. And they especially don't know when a story is good to use, and then how to weave that into the message, the business message that they want. And so I'm creating a new community that's going to be called the Story Shares Studio. And it is a membership community that people can join and be in a situation where they can ask for advice.
Yeah.
They can float ideas. They can ask people to read their stories or to read their articles or watch their videos. Mm-hmm. And to give them feedback. And they can also really have the advantage of connecting with people such as you or other experts that I know, mm-hmm. who can help them to enhance their storytelling, right. and their personal narrative branding. And that's what I'm working on right now. So it will be storysharestudio.com, mm-hmm. And you'll be able to get to it directly or as an offshoot from my main website, which is TasseyRusso.com.
Right. So is that the best way for folks to get in touch with you?
Yes.
TasseyRusso.com.
TasseyRusso.com. That's cool. Up, active, and you can see the various aspects of personal branding there and video. Yep.
Well, thank you for being a role model when it comes to people who were once resistant to video, who are now embracing it. And I'm very fortunate that I get to work with you on all this fun stuff. So thanks for that too.
Oh no, thanks, Lou. I've loved being here. I can't thank you enough.
Oh, my pleasure.
Opening up a new world.
That's what we do. All right. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.